What up? It's your boy, Josh Jones, ESQ, Dope Black Lawyer. What they do, having some technical difficulties. I'm just going to go ahead and get into this crazy stuff to talk about, man. Diddy getting sued for the sixth time. So that's going to be the big thing. So I'm going to really try to rush through because it's a 70-page complaint and it's wild. So talking about Chris Brown, it's got an unnamed rapper who used to date Nicki Minaj that was involved in some sex relations, allegedly. So there's a lot going on, man. Talking about a R&B singer who was in trouble for violence for Asian R&B star. So we don't know who that is. But before we get into all that, welcome. Let us know where you watching from. Let me know where you watching from. And type live if you're watching live, Replay Squad. Let us know that as well. Appreciate you either way. So just give me a moment, man. My computer just crashed, but I am getting everything back where I need it. So if this is your first time, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Let's see. Are there any comments so far? So far, no comments. So get my slides up in here. Okay. Welcome to Beats, Rhymes, and Crimes Live. Let me know where you're watching from. And we're going to get straight to it. So, also, this is the 50th episode. We've been doing this for 50 weeks, y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. You know what I'm saying? Got Jesse Holly from the D to the DMV. But I already know she really repping that D. So I think I'm supposed to say pause right there. I'm not sure. I don't really do the pause thing like that. Here we go. So we talked about him before. Obviously, everybody knows Dame Dash. He's back in the news today. So something else that we talk about all the time, if you get hit with a lawsuit, you got to respond, because if you don't respond, you lose. And they're going to get whatever they want. Just like last week we saw with the football player, Antonio Brown. He didn't respond to a lawsuit. So the judge was like, all right, you got to pay the millie. This week, there was a lawsuit against Dame Dash. He was accused of stealing somebody's script for a movie. So he never responded. So they went to the judge and said, Your Honor, we want you to force Dame Dash to sell his shares in Rockefeller, the record label. Obviously, Rockefeller no longer is doing music, but Rockefeller does have assets, primarily the Jay-Z albums that came out on Rockefeller are the assets that matter the most. So the one that probably here is Reasonable Doubt. So even in the past, Dame Dash tried to turn Reasonable Doubt into an NFT when NFTs were really popping off like that. And Jay-Z, Kareem, Burke, and some of their other partners and other people on the board stopped that. But this time, they were with Dame. They were trying to say that Dame should not have to sell his shares because the board hasn't approved it. And back a few years back, they voted to have a board. Rockefeller shares have to be approved by the board. Well, in this case, the judge was not convinced that applied. They said these are Dame's personal shares. This is not owned by Rockefeller. And even if it was, Dame wasn't even at the meeting when they voted on that. So I don't know how that would have changed the judge's ruling, but the judge is like, nope, Dame, you owe these people $880,000, so you can sell those shares. real quick. So I don't want to stay here too long. I feel like we already been here too long because I really want to get to this story about Diddy getting sued for sexual assault for the sixth time because it's really, really wild. So we're going to keep it moving. Oh, well, we will talk about what was said by Cam and Mace real quick because there is another side to it that I want to make sure because a lot of people think that it's real. I saw on Twitter. So I do want to actually go on here and make sure that we can talk about what they said on their show and what the reality is.
Y'all, which is a crazy statement to even ask, but I'm going to ask y'all. I'm hearing that y'all are about to get Rockefeller from Dame Dash. Is that true? Straight to it. Is that true? It's actually Ask Cam and Mace today.
Let's just say, Killer, I did for $20. Times, who knows?
So yeah, man, we can stop right there. So if you believe, first of all, if you believe based off of that representation that they really are in line to buy the shares, you're 100% gullible. But just so you kind of know, the judge is going to force a sale. So Rockefeller has 180 days to deliver the stock certificates to the U.S. Marshal Service, and then it'll be sold at a public auction. So if Cam and Mace want to get in line, they can go to the auction like everybody else, and they'll bid for it. So whoever comes out the highest bid wins. All these names. So Dame said that some years back, Jay offered him 1.5 mil for his share. So we'll see what happens. Now the money's going to go to somebody else. So it sounds like he made a bad deal to me. So let's keep it moving. A different world. Type 1 in the chat if it's a different world where you came from. If this was a show that you grew up watching like me, I actually still watch it every day. If I'm being honest, almost every day. Comes on the Max app. But they are igniting on a HBCU tour starting today at my alma mater, Clark Atlanta University. They're going to be touring the whole AUC Center. And it sounds dope. So a lot of the people who you see on the picture, obviously Mr. Gaines passed away, Lou Myers, are going to be out with Debbie Allen and some other, producers. And the whole point is to raise money for scholarships to, bring that cultural impact of the show back to HBCUs today. There was a lot of people who went to HBCUs because of what they saw at Hillman. People thought Hillman was a real school. So shout out to A Different World. If you get an opportunity to check it out, you know what I'm saying, you can look it up. It's the adwtour.com, and you can see what's going on with the A Different World tour. I had to talk about it because it meant so much to me in my life. But we got to keep going because we got to get to this Diddy thing. It's really, really crazy. So Tyreek Hill, we talked about him a few weeks back. He accidentally filed for divorce from his wife, if you remember, and he fired the lawyer who did that. Well, now he's being sued by an IG model who says that he purposely broke her ankle while she was at his house. So she brought her son to Florida to attend a camp that Tyreek Hill was doing. And Tyreek Hill ended up inviting her to the house, saying that he wanted to, get to know her. He had some corny lines talking about he was a good stepfather and all this nonsense. So she's at the crib. He's training. She ends up going out on the field. First of all, she's 6'1". So just to really paint the picture, it's a 6'1" girl. She's actually we have her picture right here. She's from London or somewhere in England. So we got her picture right here. And supposedly she pushed him off the line and he got embarrassed. So he ended up pushing her down or breaking her ankle. So she's suing because she got her leg broken. There were witnesses there. She says his family was there. The trainer was there. So I'm not sure if there were cameras there, but more than likely he's going to end up having to come out of pocket to pay for that. We got to keep going, y'all. So tell me, what do you think? Do you think that he's 5'10" and she's 6'1"? So basically they're saying he got embarrassed by, being a professional athlete who couldn't, I guess, beat this woman off the line. I'm not really sure. So, but we're gonna keep moving. Don't worry about that. So, so we got another story, and we don't got to talk about it long, but we got to talk about it because I don't hear enough about it. But King Trevante Jamal Schubert Helton was found hanging from a tree in North Georgia. Yeah, why you playing with grown men, but still can't get your ankle broke? So let's talk about this, man, because the strange fruit is still a thing. It's not something that's from the from back in the day that we could forget about on this last day of Black History. We got an extra day this year, y'all. Thank you. Happy birthday to all y'all that don't get birthdays on a regular basis. So Trevante Jamal Schubert, he was on a trail in North Georgia. His body was found, and so far, that's all that they're really saying. They're awaiting the results from an autopsy. Seems like it's pretty obvious, but we'll see what comes from this. And super sad. Something that we gotta really, really make sure that we don't let just be slid under the rug, and nobody talks about it because it's happened in the past. Recently, also in Georgia, I remember there was a young boy. I think his name was Kendrick Johnson. They found him rolled up in a mat in a Valdosta, Georgia gymnasium, and they ruled that there was no foul play. So we really got to make sure that we bring attention to this stuff. And we make sure that something happens. So we will await, whatever's happening with that. But rest peacefully, King. And we will say your name, Trevante Jamal Schubert Helton. Hopefully you did not die in vain, my brother, and something comes from this that will lead to some type of systemic change. Andre 3000 said it starts off like a small town marriage, but ends in Hollywood divorce. So here we go, man. Ray J and this young lady, Princess Love. Let me know if you watch. I think they're on Love and Hip Hop, one of the Love and Hip Hop series. Let me know if you watch them on there. But apparently, they have filed for divorce for the fourth time, and we'll just leave it right there. The first three times they got back together, they say that this is it for real. But Ray J is a goofy dude, man. So we'll see. But we got to keep moving. We got to keep moving because we got to get to this Diddy story. All right. Here's another one. Let me know if you bank with Navy Federal. Type of one in the chat if you bank with Navy Federal, because if you do, you may be eligible for a class action lawsuit that's coming up. So back in December, CNN released statistics saying that Navy Federal, which is the largest credit union in the United States, I didn't know that, denied more than 50% of Black applicants for new conventional home mortgages in 2022, even as it had an approval rate that was greater than 75% for white applicants seeking the same product. So hey, you might be missing out on some reparations, but we'll see. So, and it's not just Navy Federal. So the racial wealth gap is perpetuated every day by similar things happening at other financial institutions as well. So there may be a lawsuit coming to a bank near you. But CNN report found that Black applicants were more than twice as likely to be denied as white applicants, even when more than a dozen different variables, including income, debt to income ratio, property value, down payment percentage, neighborhood characteristics, were all the same. So even when people had similar situations, Black people were still being denied way more. Well, as you can see by the bald shiny head right here, that's dope Black lawyer Benjamin Crump, who we talk about all the time on here, along with Al Sharpton and some other folks who are talking about the racial wealth gap, but more importantly, with the lawsuit that was filed against Navy Federal. There's already 8 plaintiffs, but they're looking to make it a class action. So there will be more information coming, but Navy Federal has 13 million members. They're supposed to serve military people and their families. And, how unjust is it to serve your country and then to be denied for something that is supposed to be a tenet of your rights as a citizen of the United States, to be able to be a homeowner, to be able to acquire property, to be able to pursue, financial, dreams and things like that. So hopefully on one side, this leads to something happening so that more people are able to get approved. And a spokesperson from Navy Federal did say about the CNN analysis, said that it was not accurate reflection of their lending practices because it did not account for other factors such as credit score, cash in the bank, relationship history with the lender. So let me know if you call cap on that. You know what I'm saying? I call cap, but let me know what you think about that. All right. We out here, y'all. So we got to keep going because we got a lot of show, and we got to get to this Diddy stuff because we just got to. All right. So this young lady right here. So this is scammers and scumbags. I wouldn't go as far as to call her a scumbag because I don't know enough about her personally. But this is Michelle Mack, and I had to use this picture because I could not find her mugshot. So apparently, it has not been made public, so that might be part of the privilege. But the items you see here are part of an $8 million theft ring that she was the mastermind for with regard to Ulta. So all across California, she was sending out people. There are about 12 women who she would send out. She'd pay for their travel so they could go to different Ulta stores and they could rob Ulta. So it was organized crime for sure, because $8 million is a lot of Ulta products. And she was selling it on her Amazon store. So I'm assuming for a discount. Yeah, she was the one. So one of the mistakes she made was when the California police and everybody got to her house, she had over $300,000 worth of product in the house. So I only watch TV, and I've talked to a couple people, but my understanding is you don't keep the product at your house. You're supposed to have that somewhere else. And then the rest of it, was being delivered to a post office box that was registered to her. So, I mean, it seems like it was sophisticated, but to me, it seems like people are always out here getting caught. I don't know how you get away with a crime like that in 2024. It's way too many cameras, way too much technology. But that table and all those shelves, I mean, this looks like the back room of an actual store. The way they got that stuff laid on the table, it looked like a flea market. She was getting her stuff off. So this is one of her co-defendants who was arraigned. She pled not guilty. Looks like a minority woman. So, and this is the lady's crib. This is Michelle Mack's crib. It's for sale right now. So they better tell on her. If they smart, they gonna tell on her for sure. But this Michelle Mack's crib, y'all. All right, this is right outside of San Diego. The neighbors is real happy that it's for sale, and you could be the next owner. They just ask that you don't also throw parties and rent the crib out on Airbnb like Michelle Mack. She sounds like a horrible neighbor, y'all. I have a neighbor like that, but my crib don't look like that yet. So, but we got to keep moving. She's definitely a scammer. She is an ultimate scammer. I commend her effort. I don't know if it's because of the privilege she had access, but either way, if she could have just put that same effort into something that is not illegal, she would be ahead of the game. Now, let's see. I'm going to share my screen because I got another scammer whose scam was not that sophisticated, but I do want to cue it up for y'all. they can learn something from Michelle Mack. This is a group of young ladies who snuck out on their tab but forgot their keys at the table. She might have paid a lawyer up front though, because we don't. But you're learning. Had a lawyer on retainer, so when it goes down, you good. But these young ladies definitely didn't pay no lawyer up front because they didn't even pay their tab for whatever restaurant this is. They tried to walk out on their bill, but forgot their keys. Look. They gonna say they went to the bathroom. Y'all went to the bathroom? Hold up. Now to go sit it. Damn, shorty. Shot town. Shot town. Shot town. Get her, shorty. Shot town. Yeah, y'all shouldn't have walked out. Pay your bill. Yeah, y'all left them keys. Y'all shouldn't have walked out. The world's dumbest criminals. Man. Y'all making us look bad. Yeah, dummies. Somebody always watching, man. Always. You got to pay that tab, man. And you got to holler at Michelle Mack so you can learn how to really do that thing. That's just silly. But we got to keep going. All right. Shout out to everybody that's on here. Well, I do want to say, though, Yellow was about to run off on the friends, but I've been places where people have walked out on tabs, but I ain't never seen 20 people walk out at one time. That's amazing. I applaud their effort, but I give them a 0 for execution. So in the same light, one of the world's richest people did something very similar, or his company. I won't say Elon did it, but at Elon Musk's company, they ordered, I want to say 2,000 pastries from the sister on the photo. And then like a day before they were supposed to, she got everything ready, and then they canceled the order after it was already ready. So Elon claims that he wasn't aware, he says he's going to make it right, but they had the audacity to order it again. So the first time they ordered 2,000, now they want 4,000. So she's like, I can't fill your order right now. I'm too busy. So apparently from the publicity from this, she's getting active out here. So shout out to her. And you can't never give Elon Musk and Uber the benefit of the doubt, because one of the very first stories we talked about on here was when there was the discrimination lawsuit where they were hanging nooses and all types of stuff in the factory. So that's why you won't see me. One of the reasons you won't see me driving the Uber, but peace to anybody that does. I ain't mad at you. All right. So let me know, would you fill the order after they did that, or would you be like, nah, I'm straight? In the words of our esteemed 43rd president, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, fool me twice. Well, you can't fool me again, or whatever it is, paraphrasing. So yeah, man, you can't be out here lacking. It looked like she's not. So, but yeah, so be careful. You get an Uber, you get an order from anybody, and it's not just even just Uber. All right. So it's anything, especially of that size, where you got to front the money for the materials, the ingredients, the whatever. You got to get a deposit. You know what I'm saying? So we're not making nothing until we get a deposit, you know what I'm saying? Or a signed contract or something that we can use to go to court if we need to. So luckily the publicity is so bad and Uber has the money. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll pay. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we got to keep going, y'all. We got to get to this Diddy story. It's crazy. So this is a crazy one in Texas. So we talked a couple weeks ago, if you remember, there was the police officer that unloaded a clip on his own police car with a with a black man handcuffed because he thought that the man was shooting at him when in actuality an acorn fell onto the car, causing his partner to also unload a clip. Praise the Lord that that man did not get shot. However, this case is a little bit different. So this one right here happened in Texas, not in Florida. And this young lady was over at a friend's house. Her name's Ebony Pouncey, and the friend lost her keys. So the friend said, "Just break my window so we could get inside." Somebody heard the commotion and called the police. The police showed up loud. You know how the police do, right? When they show up loud, do this, do this, do this. So we in Texas now. Ebony went and pulled her piece. And when she got to the door, I will give a trigger warning, but I'm going to show you the video of what happened.
Shot fire, shot fire.
So this is the beginning. The video played for 1 second before they started busting. Now, and no shots were returned, but they just kept shooting. So Ebony was not as fortunate as the man in Florida. She did get shot 5 times, right? Luckily, they were not fatal wounds. She too is represented by dope black lawyer Ben Crump, and she said, "I started seeing holes in the walls, and then I realized there was something coming through the apartment. I see blood everywhere." So she's bleeding, barely even knows the police what's going on. She just heard the commotion. So according to the sheriff's account, the deputies went to investigate the reported break-in and saw the front window screen removed, broken glass, and the blinds raised near the front door. The deputies knocked, and one of them announced their presence. It is unclear from the body camera footage where the glass was broken. So the friend was not injured, and none of her vital organs were struck. So she will be okay physically, but I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of PTSD and emotional trauma that's going to come along with what happened. I hate to see these things repeatedly happen. I'm going to jump out on a limb, assume this was in a black community. And so many times the officers that work in the community are not from the community. And even if they are, don't have the appropriate relationship with the community to be able to assess the situation in the way that they would if they were in a different community. So they come to the situation like, even though I think he's a sucker, I remember Cedric the Entertainer had a joke on Kings of Comedy, like, I wish a MF would, right? Would they come with that energy? Like, I wish a MF would. They don't hope, they wish, right? And that's kind of what you see happen time and time again when you see these types of things. It puts you in the mindset, even though it puts you in the mindset of what happened to Breonna Taylor, a young lady just in the house, not really doing anything. And she had the right to bear arms. You always hear the Second Amendment freaks saying, well, we had a right to bear arms. We had this, we had that. So if that's true, and she did not, it seems like she did not do anything wrong. But, I see y'all sentiment, scary cops. I hate scary cops. I hate racist cops. I hate prejudiced cops. I hate, anybody who's showing up with a position so crucial. I mean, the decisions they make could be the difference literally between life and death. So you cannot show up to a situation and just be ready to just blast out like that. It's crazy. But luckily the sister's okay. We will follow to see what happens. Of course, it's under investigation and yada, yada, yada. You know how you always get those statements from the cops. So we got to keep going. We are going to follow up. We did talk about it last week with regard to District Attorney Fani Willis. As a part of the Trump trial, you know that Trump is, and like 20 people are on trial right now for trying to steal the election. That's what they say, steal the election. So what is that? I don't remember that's what it says, trying to overturn the election in Georgia. So remember, he was trying to pay off the Secretary of State and all of that. So they got these people on trial. And what the attorneys for one of the defendants, not Trump, somehow was able to figure out that Fani Willis had a romantic relationship with the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade. Initially, I think they denied it. Eventually, they ended up admitting it, but saying that they, didn't do anything that was unethical or whatever. Nathan Wade has been paid over $600,000 as a part of this case so far, and they're not dating anymore, according to what they said. But they've put the trial kind of on hold because they're holding a hearing to see if Fani Willis should be removed as the DA. Basically, which would require them to probably bring in another district attorney from a different county. Hopefully, they're probably hoping for one that's probably a little bit more conservative and may decide to even drop the charges. So you don't know what kind of deal they may have worked out, but they have had on the stand Terrence Bradley, who was the former law partner of Nathan Wade, and also coincidentally represented Nathan Wade in his divorce. So Nathan Wade has been on the stand denying everything. I don't remember, I don't recall, I don't know. But then they found some text messages that he sent to another lawyer, and they presented it to him. And I could not find any video. I wish I could, but Nathan Wade was on the stand and was like, "Oh, dang. Like, you got me." It's what it sounds like the way it reads, like, "Dang, you got me." So I just see Nathan Wade in there like, "Kane, like, you bought the bottle of beer at 11:30. I bought the bottle of beer at 11:30. I bought the bottle of beer at 12:30." And then the detective being like, "You effed up, right? You know you effed up." But man, I could not find the video for that. So if we find it, we'll post it on IG and on I still call it Twitter, man. Y'all could call it what y'all want to. I'll post it on Twitter. But we got to keep going because this Diddy story is going to be crazy if you've not heard about it. So crazy Karen confrontation. So last week, the crazy Ken called Russell Westbrook a boy at the Heat game. He got put out. Russell Westbrook was about to put them hands on him, and then security escorted him out. Well, this Karen right here, she took it a little bit farther. So I got the video. You got to pay attention at the very beginning. So at the very beginning, she called him a bitch, but it's the very first second. So you got to listen. And then she tried to dap him. Like, that's cool. So then they always want to try to reason with you after the fact. They got lucky. Get them out of here. I'm tired of people treating athletes like this. They got lucky because I'm from the school of Ron Artest. So everybody from the D know what that means. The malice at the palace, baby. Fan treat me like that. We going to fisticuffs. And if my wife is out there calling players, I'm like, you gotta relax. You can't be out here getting me in no situations. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Especially him. He don't look like he got hands at all. She look like she might be the fighter, but Kevin Durant handled it way more diplomatically than I would. So I definitely agree. There's no place for that. Calling the man out his name and then trying to put your hand out and dap him like you drunk before the game even started. Like you got to get these folks out of here. I can only imagine what she'll be like in the fourth quarter. So we almost there. We almost there. Man, hip hop on trial. So Jam Master Jay's murder trial comes 22 years after his death, and his godson and another man were found guilty on all counts of his murder. So it basically comes out at this time, Jam Master Jay was involved in some type of drug trade. The two guys who killed him were a part of the deal and got cut out by Jam Master Jay after one of the other partners said that he had to get rid of them. I think they did something that was like making the block hot. So after that, they decided to show up to a studio and they shot Jay, lethally killing him, and also shot another young lady. So the young lady who they shot testified that those were the gentlemen. She was able to recognize the shooter. There were other witnesses who were able to identify them and who said that after the fact that they told them what happened, that they admitted it and said stuff like, if Jam Master Jay was here, I'll kill him again type stuff. So they had all these witnesses and they got found guilty. So happy for Jay's family. They're going to get that justice because it's been a long time coming. We got to keep going. Oh, man. We're almost there. So we're going to have to do like a whole catch-up episode on Thug. It's some new stuff that's out, but not a lot. One of the big things was on Friday last week, the judge dismissed a juror who moved out of Fulton County, which is where the trial is being held. The prosecution wanted to keep this juror, but the defense did not. The judge decided, let's be safe and just get rid of this juror. Sounds like for whatever reason, basically what happens, each side gets to pick jurors that they want to remove. And this may have been a juror that the prosecution felt was friendly to their side for whatever reason. And they were trying to keep that person, but the defense was like, nah, we got to get that up out of here. Because if I'm the judge, I don't blame him. It took 10 months to pick that jury. So if there's any type of indiscrepancies or issues with the jury, I'd rather be safe than be sorry. One of the detectives, Detective Velasquez, who you may know from, if you watch TV One, he was on a show called ATL Homicide. So they allege that he was, messing around with the evidence, but we got to do a whole episode. We're just going to catch up on Thug because we're a little bit behind on Thug. And we got to get to this Diddy thing, man, because it's a little bit beyond bonkers. So we made it. Sean Diddy Combs is being sued again for sexual assault. This time, the plaintiff is Rodney Lil Rod Jones. All right. So Lil Rod is 54 years old. I don't know if he still goes by Lil Rod. It seems like a lot of the guys drop Lil once they turn like 21 or 22. But if he still wants to go by Lil Rod, and Lil Rod is a pause for sure. You know what I'm saying? But he's suing Diddy for sexual harassment, saying that he drugged and threatened him, seeking $30 million. Now, someone last week said that everybody should just sue Diddy, get you a quick payday. And I said, nope, can't. If you're Diddy, you can't just start paying out, because if you just pay out, it'll never stop. We're going to get there. All right. We are definitely going to get there. So you can't just pay everybody. They'll shake you down forever. And he's last reported to be worth about $1 billion, but $1 billion will go quick if every 6 weeks you're getting sued for 10, 20, 30 million at a time. So we're going to get all the way into it, though. So apparently Diddy had an album that came out in called the Love Album. I don't know any of the music from it. I've never been a Diddy music fan like that, his solo stuff. But maybe it was good. I don't know. So Lil Rod Jones said that while he was working, well, let's just go through the complaint. We'll go little by little through the complaint. We're gonna try to get through it. Let me pull it up for y'all. Like I said, it's 70 pages. We're not gonna read every page, but we got to go through this complaint. All right. Man, and shout out to Ali LaFlare. He could not be with us today due to a medical emergency. Not serious, but he did have, handle something. So, yeah, it could have been a good album, Jess. I just don't be wanting to hear Diddy rap. So, like, if it was a compilation kind of thing, there's a lot of artists on there. You know what I'm saying? His production's always been pretty solid. He's got a good team, but I don't want to hear them raps from Diddy. That's all it is. So it's Rodney Jones versus Sean Combs, Justin Dior Combs, who was Diddy's son, Ethiopia Habtemariam, Lucian Charles Grange, Christina Coram, Chalice Recording Studios, Love Records, Motown Records, Universal Music Group, Combs Global Enterprises, John and Jane Doe's 1 through 10, and ABC Corporations 1 through 10. You put that in there so that you can kind of preserve the right to name other defendants as you learn about them. Trigger warning: this document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including sexual assault. Additionally, there are graphic images of the aftermath of a shooting, redacted images of sexual intercourse, redacted images of minors, sex workers, and prostitutes, details of sex trafficking, and the illegal distribution of guns and drugs. That's a lot. And on each side, we have a dope black lawyer. So we got Tyrone Blackburn, who has also been a dope black lawyer of the day regarding representation of people who are currently suing Nicki Minaj's husband, the young lady who he was convicted of sexually assaulting and raping 20-something years ago. And then Sean, what's Sean's last name? I think it's Holly. Is it Sean Holly? Yep, Sean Holly is the dope black lawyer that's representing Diddy. You know, even if somebody is not good people, they do deserve to have dope black representation. And that's the case right now with Diddy. So let's get back to the complaint. I know, right? So holla at your cousin. If you ever need a dope black lawyer, she might be able to give you a little discount. And if she won't, I got you. So we went through the trigger warning. So anytime a complaint, until this stuff started happening recently, I had never seen a trigger warning on a complaint. But every time you see one, it'd be like, what? Like when you go start reading, it'd be like, what? So from Lizzo to Diddy to all these people. What's my man name from Def Jam? Russell Simmons, like some crazy stuff. So this is the kind of standard language. Lil Rod hereby alleges his complaint against defendants, and they name all the defendants. They talk about why the court is the right court to handle the case. They go through the parties and kind of give you a little bit of information about them. So we kind of talked about it. Rodney Jones is a music producer, and he lives in New York and California. Diddy is a rapper and recording executive. He came to fame in the 90s. You know the story. He lives in California. Justin Dior Combs is his son, and Miss Hilton J. Combs. Oh, it also says who his mother is. So he was born, it's not written that great, when he was born and where he lives. Talks about Lucian Grange. So he's the CEO of Universal Music Group, also from California. However, I think this was filed. No, I know this was filed. This was filed in New York, but Ethiopia Habtemariam is the former CEO of Motown, the parent company of defendant Love Records. Also Cali. Christina Karam is the chief of staff to Sean Combs. Chalice Recording Studio is a popular recording studio in California. Motown, Universal Music Group is a record label. And so is Motown. Love Records is a label. Combs Global is kind of a diverse portfolio of businesses and investments that include music, fashion, yada, yada, yada. So I never seen anybody write this in a complaint. I mean, it's very casually written. It's nothing wrong with that, I guess. But Rodney Lil Rod Jones is from the Windy City. And then in brackets, it says Chi-Town. If my lawyer wrote that, I'd be a little nervous. But it's kind of like this meme they have, like, if your lawyer shows up with some beat up penny loafers, you're going to lose. And that's how I feel if I saw this. But it's got pictures, so it's redacting all the people. But Lil Rod been making music since he was a little young one, child prodigy. And he's worked with all types of people: Georgia Mass Choir, Donald Lawrence, Clark Sisters, Smokey Norfolk. Type of one in the chat if you ever heard of Lil Rod. Type 2 if you haven't. I had never heard of him before this case. So from September 2022 to November 2023, a period of just about a little over a year, he produced 9 songs on the Love album. Yeah, just seemed like he looking for a come up. But you know, some of these people be in the entertainment industry, you ain't never heard of them, but they got the juice though. You just don't know. So maybe he's one of them people. So he resided at Mr. Combs' residence in LA, New York, and Miami, and also spent several weeks on a yacht rented by Mr. Combs in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Throughout his times with Mr. Combs, he witnessed and experienced and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on the Love album. The claims have been corroborated through witness statements, video, audio recordings, and images that Mr. Jones has in his possession. So apparently, Diddy required him to record him constantly. On several occasions, Mr. Combs took Mr. Jones' cell phone and began recording himself. So they say that he has hundreds of hours of footage of Mr. Combs and illegal activity. So here's another tip for everybody. Usually I don't like to give legal advice because everybody's situation is different, but I can confidently tell you, do not commit illegal acts while people are filming it. Because you don't know who's filming, and I assume that people are always filming, but especially do not commit illegal acts when people are filming at your request. All right, that's stupid. So they say that he has evidence of the acquisition, which I'm going to say the purchase, the distribution of, and the use of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms, unregistered firearms. He's got footage of guns. Diddy providing laced beverages to minors and sex workers at his homes. The chief of staff instructing her staff to retrieve drugs so she could provide it to Mr. Combs. Like, why are we doing this on video? Christian Combs drugging and sexually assaulting a woman. So there's a so they say a complaint is forthcoming. That's a whole nother lawsuit. Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage the relationship with TD Jakes to soften the impact of his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. So I don't know if that's going to work because somehow they got TD in the mix saying TD was at the parties. TD said that's not true, but that's what was reported previously. Young Miami's cousin and or assistant sexually assaulting Mr. Jones. I don't know what that means right there. That's for show of pause right there. That's that Detroit talk right there. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. sexually harassing and assaulting Mr. Jones. So Lil Rod is Mr. Jones. Just keep that in mind. R&B singer redacted in Mr. Combs' LA home, consorting with underage girls and sex workers. Gotcha. I'm with you now. So then, apparently at this recording studio, there was a shooting. So September 12th, 2022, which is the very beginning of when Lil Rod Jones started working with Diddy. He was at a recording studio. Diddy was there. Justin was there. Justin's friend named G was there. G is 30-year-old tall African-American male. Why he's tall is relevant? Not sure. In addition to these individuals, other musicians were present at the camp. The writer has spoken to several musicians who attended the camp. So Mr. Combs, Justin Combs, so Sean, Justin, and G were in a heated conversation and moved out of the studio and into a restaurant near where Mr. Jones was sitting, approximately 2 feet away from the bathroom when gunshots rang out. Mr. Jones recalls hearing multiple gunshots. So I don't see where we got to it yet, but so this is what you were referencing, Jess. Rapper Redacted was on the yacht consorting with underage girls, sex workers, and there's a footnote. He is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. And then R&B singer Redacted was in Mr. Combs' LA home consorting with underage girls and sex workers. He is a Grammy Award-winning R&B singer who had trouble with law enforcement after assaulting a Bayesian billionaire. So I don't know who they're talking about, but I'm assuming that number 3, just context clues, and I'm not saying it's true, but I'm assuming that number 3 is Meek Mill. All right. And I'm assuming that number 4 is Chris Brown. So he heard multiple gunshots and he thought he was going to be shot next. After the shooting ended, a crowd gathered around the restroom. When the door finally opened, both of the Combs men left. G was lying on the floor in the fetal position, holding his stomach and bleeding out of his leg and hip area. So I don't know if that's true, but I do know that a lot of people get shot in close proximity to Diddy, and he never gets shot. So one of the things that I've come to know was that one of the origins of the Bad Boy Death Row beef was that one night at Jermaine Dupri's birthday party way back in like 94, 95, they were all hanging together, Death Row and Bad Boy. They got into an altercation sounding very similar to what we just heard here. Security actually had broken it up. They thought that they got Bad Boy out and they had left, and then they were going to bring Death Row out so they could leave. Ultimately, one of Suge Knight's tight men ended up being fatally killed. All right. So we know what happened with Biggie. You know what I'm saying? Leaving the party with Diddy. He got killed. We know that back in the BMF days, I can't remember if Diddy was present, but it happened, if I'm not mistaken, in the parking lot of his Buckhead restaurant, Justin's, when his security, Ron Wolf Jones, also got killed. So I just know, and if you don't get shot, you go to prison. Shine is up in the club. Everybody say that they saw both of them shooting. Shine got 10 years. Diddy goes home and lives to be involved in another incident, alleged incident. So Mr. Jones dropped everything and ran to G. Mr. Jones gonna be the hero now. He was scared out of his mind, but he's a child prodigy church boy, so he's gonna try to help G. He's applying the pressure to his wound, helped him up on the toilet, got him an ambulance, and then smartly, Justin and Diddy got up out of there. So he says that Mr. Combs gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. And then here's a screenshot right here of an article talking about what happened. But there are several witnesses who spoke anonymously due to retaliation fear. But they will speak when they're subpoenaed, who are going to testify to what really happened. So here's pictures. Mr. Jones says he still has his bloody clothes. The following are screenshots of the aftermath of the restroom where G was shot by either Mr. Combs or Justin Combs. Clearly, G was not shot outside. Mr. Combs and the defendants provided private security for the writers' camp at the studio. So the security was not good. So basically, this type of case is a negligent security case. We talk about this, but basically, if you're in a situation and security is supposed to protect you and they don't protect you, you can sue the security and whoever hired the security for negligent security. So Mr. Jones is traumatized and he has PTSD, anxiety, depression, insomnia. So now he gets into a sexual assault claim. So he says that all these events took place in LA, New York, Florida, and the Virgin Islands. He said he was a victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Mr. Combs. In addition, he was forced by Mr. Combs to work in Mr. Combs' bathroom as Mr. Combs walked around naked and showered in a clear glass enclosure. So this is also very aligned with what other people have said about Diddy. If you remember, Keefe D, who is the Southside Crip who's on trial for killing Tupac, stated that Diddy would be in a room full of Southside Crips. I'm assuming this at least is probably like a penthouse studio hotel, something like that, presidential suite. Excuse me. But he said Diddy just be walking around butt naked in a room full of Crips. So that is not hard to believe based on the similar accusations. So Mr. Jones said, as a heterosexual Christian man, that he was very uncomfortable with his advances and expressed his discomfort to Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina Karam. So let me know, how long would you had, let's assume that you didn't quit after the shooting. How many times would Diddy have to touch your butt and grope you before you quit? How many times could Diddy walk around butt naked around you before you quit? And I'm not victim blaming, because I get it. People feel like they have to do these things and they're in these situations, and they're the person who has power and they're afraid and all this stuff. So the chief of staff tried to downplay the groping of Mr. Jones's anus and genitals as friendly horseplay, stating that those acts were Mr. Combs' way of showing that he likes you. I'm not even gonna ask, but no, I'm gonna ask. Type in the chat, and I know nobody's about to type in the chat, but this is a safe space. If you have ever taken groping of your butt or your genitals by your friends as a sign of them showing that they like you, platonic friends as a sign that they like you, I'll wait. Absolutely ridiculous. Despite these assurances, on several occasions when Mr. Combs began to undress and walk around his house naked, KK would say, "Okay, I'm leaving now," and would disappear. So I think that was supposed to be a different word right there. Instances, maybe, I'm not sure. KK's hypocrisy is breathtaking at best or enabling at worst. So Mr. Combs attempted to groom Mr. Jones into engaging in gay sex. And we have heard other claims about gay sex with from the Cassie complaint and other people saying that this stuff was going on. So let me know if you used to watch, even though I've been into hip hop for a long time, I had never heard of Stevie J till after he got on reality TV. So Stevie J from reality TV also was a part of the Bad Boy recording production group, the Hitman, was alleged to have so this is what they're saying. Lil Rod Jones, who's 54 years old. I got to double check how old Stevie J is. Stevie J, who is 50 years old. So, you can admire somebody who's younger than you, but Lil Rod is older than Stevie J. And Diddy knew that he admired Stevie J. So they're saying that he used that knowledge of that fact to groom him. So they claim that Mr. Combs showed a video of Stevie J having sex with a white man. Another man has already come out and said that was him in the video and not Stevie J. I don't know who it was. I have not seen the video. I have no desire to see the video. I will take that man's word for it that it was him and not Stevie J. So whatever. We'll keep it moving. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with a rapper, R&B singer, and Stevie J. So the names are redacted, 5 and 6. So again, he is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. So that's the same clue as the last time. Type in the chat if you have any ideas of who we may be referring to. I'm not sure. And then the other person is someone who performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency. So I don't know. Let me know if you have any ideas of who those people could be in the chat. And apparently these are screenshots of the video, but they do actually have the actual video, and we can move on. Thanksgiving 2022. So this is only 2 months into working with Diddy, right? And now he's saying that Young Miami's cousin was there. Mr. Combs was intoxicated and offered cocaine to Mr. Jones. He rejected it. Young Miami cousin came to the bathroom and began groping Mr. Jones. And Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs sent her in to assault him. As she entered the bathroom, she dropped to her knees and began performing oral sex on Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones pushed away and exited the bathroom. She did not accept the rejection and followed him, started undressing and attempted to straddle him. And this was in the presence of Diddy. Here are some photos of that time period. I'm assuming that this is the cousin right here next to Young Miami, or maybe it's the other young lady, but I'm pretty sure it's the one that's standing up with the bucket hat. So then there's claims about trafficking. They said that Mr. Jones was forced to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs, to bring prostitutes back and forth. So I read this earlier, but basically he says that Diddy was sending him out with a bad boy hat to a strip club. And just off of being in the club, I don't know, Jess. You might be right, but he didn't mention no names. But just off seeing the bad boy hat in the club, these girls from the club knew that he was Diddy's representative and that they needed to come back to Diddy's crib. So he would bring these sex workers to the crib. Diddy is, of course, walking around with no clothes on because apparently, if you're rich, you don't have to wear clothes. He said he woke up one morning, and when he woke up, he believes he had been drugged. He was in the bed with sex workers. He didn't really have a recollection of what happened the night before. This is the club. This is what I was telling you about. These are the girls that were the sex workers, redacted. I mean, this is very, very specific stuff. And he claims he has the video. Mr. Combs used many tactics to maintain dominion and control. He promised him a Grammy for Producer of the Year for the Love album, which I don't know how he could promise him that because he doesn't choose that. And he promised him ownership of, he offered him $250,000 to purchase all the instruments he wanted, ownership of his $20 million property, One Star Island, which, wow, like who's giving away a $20 million property, right? He promised access to record label executives like the ones who were named. So then he, like an abuser, would go from saying stuff like, oh, yeah, I'm going to give you the world, to then saying things that would, threatening him to cause physical harm, saying that he would kill his moms. Saying that Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face, informed him that he is willing to kill his own mother if he must to get what he wants to win. So they talk about more sex workers, saying some were underage. Present at this party in California was an R&B who we referenced earlier, who was in trouble with law enforcement for beating a Bayesian billionaire. So they're just saying that there's, women who were forced to drink laced De Leon liquor. They have screenshots of the video. They're saying that these are underage women. Justin Combs also in the mix. And then he says that Mr. Combs tried to slide him to the homie, Cuba Gooding Jr. You know what I'm saying? He said he was out on the yacht, and he suggested that Cuba get to know Mr. Jones better, left him in the studio on the yacht. Here's a photo of Mr. Combs and Cuba moments before Mr. Jones is assaulted. As evidence, there is a video. Cuba Gooding began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, upper inner thigh, and the small of his back. He said he was extremely uncomfortable and proceeded to lean away. He rejected his advances. Mr. Gooding Jr. did not stop until he forcibly pushed him away. The following is a screenshot of the encounter with Cuba Gooding. So this is Cuba Gooding Jr. with his arm on him. And I guess you can see his hand right here is a little, looks like, I can't tell if that's on my man like they're saying, but he definitely has his arm around him. They talk about the Love album. And he says he didn't get compensated for that as well. Do you like any of these songs, Jess? Let me know. We got Deliver Me, Stay Part 1, Reaching, What's Love, Stay a While, Moments, Need Somebody, Homecoming, and Tough Love. Are those some of the better songs? Which ones of those is hitting for you? Anybody else too? Let me know in the chat, because I may give it a listen. I don't like to support people with these types of allegations when there's so much evidence to corroborate it, especially. But Mr. Jones was trying to work to secure publishing and royalty rights. He was offered $29,000 for 13 months and thousands of hours worth of work. Mr. Jones was willing to take $50,000, his publishing and royalties. Mr. Combs' self-serving greed would not allow him to pay Mr. Jones an additional $21,000. Yeah, let me know, because if I am going to listen, I only want to listen to the ones that's good. So there is another footnote. Mr. Gooding Jr. has a storied history of sexually assaulting and forcibly touching individuals against their will, says well. And he did have another lawsuit related to that. So Mr. Combs' practices became so bad that Mr. Jones was left with no choice other than make a public plea on social media for Mr. Combs to pay him. After publicly requesting Mr. Combs to do the right thing and pay him fairly, he received threatening messages from Stevie J and Love Records A&R DeForest Taylor. Here they are. You 100% a liar and weirdo. Good luck. Number still the same. Run into NIGGA. Come talk to me in public on a public podcast and forum. So he was threatened by that. I didn't really take that to be like pull up. But did you read that and think that DeForest was trying to physically harm him? I didn't get that. So Mr. Combs does not take no for an answer and would often threaten to inflict harm if Mr. Jones did not comply. On another occasion, while standing in Mr. Combs' bedroom, Mr. Jones was forced to watch as Mr. Combs displayed his guns and bragged about getting away with shooting people. Mr. Combs shared that he was responsible for the shooting in the nightclub with Shine. So apparently J-Lo carried the gun into the club for him and then passed it to him. The shooting in the Chalice recording studios confirmed Mr. Combs' statements, reinforced Mr. Jones' fear. He's terrified of Mr. Combs. He felt like he could not tell him no. So they're just really, really painting this picture for you. Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. So yeah, I mean, that would be threatening. And that is Fahim Muhammad. Looks like a nice guy, but you never know. Mr. Combs always instructed people to call Mr. Muhammad if they get pulled over by the police in Miami or California. Upon information, they say that Mr. Muhammad spoke with LAPD after G was shot, and that was what made the situation go away. So they say he spent hours there and they believe that they covered it up. Basically, no arrests were made. They're saying that all these other people aided Sean Combs in being able to commit these offenses. We'll skip ahead. So now they're saying that this woman, Christina Koram, is the equivalent of Ghislaine Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein. There's definitely going to be some stuff to come from this. So they're saying that it's a RICO. They're trying to say it's similar to a RICO because she would have Stevie J recruit sex workers, Justin solicit prostitutes and sex workers, and engage in freak offs. And Brendan Paul, who's a new to this for me, works as Mr. Combs' mule. He acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns. So they say they have a recording of all this stuff and a video of Mr. Combs, Stevie J, and Lil Rod at the strip club. Mr. Combs is recording a video while coaching and training plaintiff on how to recruit sex workers. This is wild stuff, man. Oh, that's Brendan Paul right there. He looked like he did that, but who knows? Frankie Santella works alongside Brendan, acquiring the guns and drugs. Photos with Diddy. Moy Bond hires sex workers and attends parties and freak offs. So they say that Mr. Combs was affiliated with local gangs and gang leaders who would come to his homes to secure the drugs. Everybody was working on behalf of Diddy. Mr. Combs is allowed to wreak havoc. Nobody tells him no. All this stuff is going on. And we're barely like halfway through. I mean, it's just a lot, man. It's just a lot. So this is corruption. They're claiming the RICO. We kind of talked about that. You gotta have a lot of information to be able to draft a 70-page complaint this specific. Sexual harassment. So we talked about all the groping and all that stuff. California has an act for emotional distress, and they're saying that because of all these actions that the young man is distressed, they got a sexual assault count against Young Miami's cousin. And they have a premises liability for the sexual assault committed by Young Miami's cousin. Then they have another one for the sexual assault by Cuba Gooding. They've got the trafficking count. Talk about the negligent security, like we talked about. Aiding and abetting and inducing sex trafficking. So they're alleging all that. And all of these different companies are people with deep pockets. And they're saying that these people were in cahoots or wouldn't tell Diddy no, knew what was happening and should have done something. Do you think that if Diddy did these things, that all these different parties should also be responsible solely for being associated with him in business? Curious. The law says that they could be, but we don't always have to agree. Another count of negligent infliction of emotional distress against Young Miami's cousin. Another one against Diddy. So there's negligent. Yeah, it depends. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, they know and they're covering it up or they're doing something. And sometimes it's just like a reach, like we're trying to figure out who got money. So in this case, I don't necessarily see how they were a part of some of these situations. So I agree with you on that. When it comes to when it comes to emotional distress, you've got negligent and then you've got intentional. So they're alleging both against all these people: Diddy, Young Miami's cousin, Justin, another sex trafficking violation. Another one for obstruction of the enforcement of the Trafficking Victim Protection Act. So Mr. Jones says that defendants Lucian Charles Grange, Ethiopia Habtemariam, Motown Records, Love Records, Universal Music Group, knowingly and intentionally attempted to obstruct and interfere with and prevented the enforcement of this law. So I mean, with 335 paragraph deep, they're seeking monetary damages. And it's signed, was today, 3 days ago, by Tyrone Blackburn, lawyer out of Brooklyn. And then they've got a preservation notice saying not to destroy any of the evidence. If you do destroy evidence after receiving the notice, then they can go to the court and ask that the court make a ruling that whatever the evidence would have shown would have been something that would have benefited the plaintiff. So it's called an adverse inference. But that's it, man. That's a lot. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. So all of this is sick stuff, but stuff that we can learn from, stuff that we see apparently has been going on for a long time in the entertainment industry. It seems is very prevalent. And I just want to make sure, kind of put it out there. If you have any questions about it, send them to me on IG, Threads, Twitter. You could post them on the YouTube video, and we could really just kind of just talk about it, because there's a lot of people who have information that's not right, posting it online, posting it halfway. We could really break it down even more. But I just had to get through that for y'all today. And before we get up out of here, we got to talk about what this young man did. What the Florida did this young man right here do? So this young man was arrested because he had to flex on IG. All right. So anybody with them tats, I believe they did it. But essentially, he decided that it would be cool for him. He's an 18-year-old from Ocala, which is a small town, I guess not too far from Tampa. He was arrested for 12 counts of possession of a weapon. He decided that it would be cool to post these images on IG 35 separate times, totaling 228 pictures, videos, and reels with him with guns. So there you go. What the Florida was you thinking, man? Landon Smith, you are the what the Florida man of the day. So we made it to the end. Again, we appreciate you. And we'll be back next week. This is episode 50, but it's not the last episode. So we're going to be back, and we will make sure to cover any stories that you care about, anything that comes up over the next week. And I do want to say rest in power to Virgil. I believe his real name is Mike Jones, WWF fame. He was the I guess you'll call him the valet for the $1 Million Man. That was kind of his most famous role as Virgil. But yep, Mike Jones, he done passed on, man. Rest in power, King. And on that note, we up out of here.